The right to offend is not some pesky little part of freedom of speech that we have to put up with. It is the heart and soul and lungs of freedom of speech. It is the coursing lifeblood of human progress. It is the instigator of liberty and modernity and science and understanding. What a laughing stock today's student leaders are, that they can so casually dismiss the right to be offensive without realizing that their lovely, enlightened lives are the gift of individuals who gave offense. Offensiveness is not just something we have to begrudgingly accept. Offensiveness is the motor of human progress.
Now broadcasting from the Right to Offend Media Studios in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, art, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report live with Sam Whitfield.
But giving offense is good. In fact, it's essential.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's special edition of the Whitfield Report, Part 2 of the launch of Night of the Vigilante. So glad everyone can be here. Big shout out to our guest for the anniversary show yesterday, Mr. Jake Widmer. You can check that out on Rumble and Spotify as well. Big shout out to him. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have three big events because yesterday also marks the 17th anniversary of this program, the Whitfield Report. And wow, what an accomplishment.
I would like to make sure it's not just you stroking your own ego on that one, Sam. That is quite an impressive accomplishment and dedication to this. And, it's great to see the success we've been having. And I hope to see, here's to 17 more.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, the show's gone through various different incarnations, but, Max and more have been on the show for the past year and a half. And I think it's some of the best shows that I've done, I think, and having all these authors on the show. Speaking of which, one of our guests is returning as well. But it's just been awesome to have, all these great shows. And then we did not plan this, but Mr. Travis Davis, who was kind enough to come on this year and discuss his book, one of 4 here, is back with his new book, Flames of Deception, which I know sounds a lot like Shadows of Deception, my series, but I promise you the two are not related.
Well, Shadows and Flames are very different, for one.
Yeah. So
the man has a knack for titles, I'm not going to lie. Like, one of 4 automatically struck me just on the title and the cover, so.
Great
minds think alike. Can have similar.
Yeah. Well, so, Travis, thank you for, coming on. And how are you doing tonight, sir? Congratulations.
I'm doing good. Thank you guys very much. From rainy, stormy yesterday to kind of nice North Texas. So appreciate it. Thank you.
So,
it was a lovely spring day here in Massachusetts as well. Sam, before the show tonight, I said this in the chat. I went to my son's school play, 2nd grade, and it was called Bugs, and it was cute. I thought it was based on, like, there was a movie named Bugs in, like, the 90s. Doesn't seem to have anything to do with that. I think their music teacher made it up, but they were all little different bugs with jobs, and it was very cute. And my boy was loving the spotlight. So that was a great afternoon.
Awesome. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I have a package here from Amazon, which I posted earlier on on Twitter and Instagram. Had people guess what it was, and of course, most people figured it out. But I'm going to do an unboxing here. Since this used to be a trend on YouTube, we're bringing it back.
That's right,
So-
Sam. Show us your package.
What's in the box?
Well, which one? Because depending on
It's
know-
a Christian show, Sam, or
Yeah,
something
that
like
is-
that.
that is the question. So.
Not
Anyway,
nearly enough ears for that one, Sam. Just stalling for
But,
time while you open your package. See, you always forget about that it takes time to open them, and then I have to fill for time, and you get it out.
Yeah. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is the final,
Sweet.
And then it just went invisible.
Yeah, let me turn off the, I think I can turn the green screen off here for a sec. Here's the, print edition of Night of the Vigilante.
Very
Very
cool.
cool.
Part of the Shadows of Deception universe, which also takes place partially in Texas, where our guest is
True.
from. Although I hope you're not near the Mexican border.
Well, in Texas, you're close to it every day. It doesn't matter where
Yeah.
you live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're always close to it. It's just a matter of how close.
How far? Yeah, how many miles?
Well, let me rephrase. I hope you're not close to cartel territory. Otherwise,
Well,
you might
again,
be seeing.
I'm thinking you might be.
Yeah, Sam, I don't know if you know this. I'm in cartel territory now, and I'm in Massachusetts. So
Same here in New York.
Well,
we're getting it. We're
yeah.
hey, 470 arrests in my state the other day, and I looked at the list, and most of them, it's not even a question. They shouldn't be here. So
Yeah.
we're getting somewhere. But yeah. Are you in cartel territory? Are you anywhere in the North or South American continent? Then probably.
Yeah, so looks like Jason Miller is going to be getting a couple more sequels of his own too with that info. So
I
and
gotta
so
say,
here's
Sam, the cover really shines. I like that you went with like a 70s, 80s style cover. They've it's kind of a lost medium to have like the protagonist in such a manner on the cover like that. Like that's very 80s, 70s, and 90s novel covers. They like now for it to have a more modern, quote unquote, aesthetic. But man, as a longtime book buyer, give me the nostalgic covers. Sometimes those
Same
covers, you'd never heard of the book, you never heard of the author. You pick up the book based on a cover that's just really well done. And hey, sometimes they were awful. Sometimes you just found an absolute diamond in the rough. So I think that the cover is a lost art in modern novels. As I'm not, a writer, but like as somebody that buys books, that's the first thing you see. They say don't judge a book by a cover, and you shouldn't, but it helps.
Yeah.
Sam, this cover feels like a Louis L'Amour cover to me.
I've gotten that multiple times today, actually. And in fact, shout out to our friends over at the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast, because they kind of, Luke and Nate, they're big Louis L'Amour fans. And when I first introduced the character of Jason Miller in one of the John Ryder books, they were the ones who said about a year ago, actually, that I needed to do a spin-off with the Jason Miller character. So I started writing this about a year ago. Almost, I can't remember the day, but it was pretty close. So, literally a year to the month this is out. And, so this was something that I wrote. I wrote it for myself too, but I wrote it for the fans. And, I really appreciate everyone's support. We've had awesome, book sales. And I'm also honored to share, a publication day with you, Travis, and also with Ryan Stack, as well. So,
that's great. If you like literature, if you like reading, I feel like now is such a great time for independent authors who maybe want to get out there or are, have something to say. There's community willing to hear new and maybe not as corporate stuff. I think that's what it really is. There's this shine of like garbage off of so much that comes from all these mega corporations that just something with a little bit of heart made by a dude seems to have a bigger audience than ever before.
Yeah. Well, Travis, I mean,
or a woman. I don't want to discriminate against our body type Bs out there.
Yeah.
And there are some awesome women authors in the space, like Ama Dare, who I haven't met yet, but I know she's
she's really good.
I know she's a friend of Eric Bishop and John Guarnieri, who, by the way, I wasn't able to get a blurb from Eric in this book because the man's become, I don't really want to make comparisons, but he's kind of become like the podcast, guy in this space, and I'm really honored. Travis and I have both been guests on the show separately, and in fact, like I mentioned to you, Travis, when you first came on, you and I met on Eric's Instagram live space initially, I believe, and so. I don't know about you, but for me personally, Eric's been a great friend and really
he's fantastic.
Supporter and even mentor, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think I wouldn't be able to get the first book out. He gave me a lot of advice. It's helped me along the way. So no, he's been, and I just try to reciprocate that to folks who want to, self-publish, because I think they want to put something different out there that doesn't have to abide by certain rules and have certain aspects of the book, characters and thought, and plot plans and things like that. So yeah, he's been great.
Yeah, and also, John Guarnieri of the Spear Talk Network too. I didn't get like a direct quote from him, but I quoted something he said about one of my books in an Instagram live stream. So very honored to have him. And Max, I even got a quote from you about one of the Shadows of Deception books. So, you'll have to pick up a copy and see what you said if you can remember. So,
I've been I've enjoyed them like unironically, not just because I'm your co-host sucking up to you, but like I told you from the earliest, like, you should pursue this, it seems like you like writing and we didn't, that's the thing is when he started talking about this, we didn't think there was a market for independent authors the way that he's been opened up to by so many people. He just wanted to do it. And it just seemed like the right thing to do. So when you got something like that, to me, it's like I said, like there's a lot of heart in that, right? Is that he just wants to write this book. Mm-hmm. And then, hey, maybe, for a lark, we could publish it on Amazon. And then we'll promote the book on the show. It turns out that worked. We didn't actually, I'm not just speaking for myself, Sam, right? We didn't expect that to like work. Even though I believed in the books, it's just one of those things. You might have good content, but there's a million voices screaming into the void everywhere you look now. It's hard to get noticed. So
yeah. Well, for me,
very humbling to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's been extremely humbling for me, and it's been very humbling for me to meet, so many people in the indie author community as well. For me personally, like I think one of the things, because I've been writing stories since I was like a teenager, a long time. But I think what really motivated me to start writing was, to start like publishing was, and we've talked about this, there definitely is kind of the there is kind of like the politically correct, woke entertainment industry, but
Well,
by the same,
wasn't it James Bond that pushed you over the edge, right? Is you were like, I'm not getting, I remember this conversation even on the show, Sam, right? You were like, I'm not getting the James Bond I want. I should just write it myself.
Yeah, it was partially that, but it was also partially like a lot of these content creators doing clickbait, like, Marvel movies bomb at the box office, and they talk how much everything sucks, but then that's all they do. They just talk how bad everything is, and they complain and they hand wring about how bad everything is. But when it comes down to like, okay, well, some of these people seem like they have, an idea. Well, why don't
At the
they
very
do
least, it
anything?
seems like you have something to say.
Yeah.
Try saying.
Yeah.
If you're gonna bitch, create.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so I kind of feel like, if I'm going to critique the James Bond series specifically, like, I feel like I should at least have something out there, even if it's not like really, that good. And I mean, I think it is, but even if it wasn't, I feel like I would at least have a leg to stand on.
There was never plans for more than one, guys.
Not in it.
That was from demand. People asked him for the second and third ones. It wasn't the plan.
I kind of had ideas for like parts 2 and 3, but I was kind of like, okay, well, we'll see if this takes off.
It wasn't even the sales. People just demanded it.
Yeah.
They demanded it, and Sam is a man of the people. He delivered. And I would say, though, the Shadows of the Deception series, as much as I like it, you've really kind of come into your own in the last two kind of spin-off works that you've done outside of there, Sam. And I'm really looking forward to getting the full copy of this book, because I honestly have a sneaking suspicion it's your best one.
That's what I've been told. I've also been told it's my bloodiest, and my most violent. But hey, it's the cartels, and Steve Stratton, another author. He was very gracious to come on the podcast and share his experiences of dealing with the cartels. And he didn't go into explicit detail, but he went into enough where I was like, now I understand why his books are written the way they are. And I also felt like, well, if I'm going to write something related to the cartels, it has to be gritty, and it kind of has to be dark.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Books kind of evolved. Look at Harry Potter turned. It was very sublime at first, and at the end, it was all out. Pretty out there in heart.
And if you're trying to portray the realities of cartels, it's going to be dark subject matter, because I don't even think a lot of people don't realize how dark the cartels get. There's awful gore videos all over the internet that they casually make. Yeah. And why do they do that? They do that to scare other people of them, to make sure that they're going to like skin you alive or whatever. Yeah. It's awful. If you talk, there was that one journalist that wrote like a barely critical piece about cartels. She ended up with her head on a top of a pile of bodies of random people they killed just to send a message. This is dark stuff. These people, and it's because they're out there bullying essentially the governments in a lot of these places. They outgun the cops in some places, and the cops know better than to start a war with them. So
yeah.
And they're already on the outlaw side of society. So the tastes of the most depraved, most sick of these people are only going to get worse and worse until something is done. And so, to address that, you kind of do need a dark fucking story.
Yeah.
Well, and that's actually kind of my premise for the Jason Miller character in general. Is his look is inspired by the Man with No Name, the Clint Eastwood character, who is, the thing about the Man with No Name is his past is never like explained, which
Hence the
kind of
title.
adds to his character.
Mm.
But I was like, I'm such a fan of those movies, and someone was like, well, what if someone made kind of like a modern day interpretation? What would he look like? And so I was like, well, that's actually kind of an idea. And so what I wanted was I wanted an American who would go after the cartels in the exact same brutal fashion
Mm.
Right.
that they go after civilians and law enforcement.
Yep.
An
And there were,
anti-hero, essentially, a Punisher type figure.
yeah.
Mm.
And there were actually a few scenes that I had to, well, I didn't have to, but there were a few scenes that I rewrote because they got so, some of them got like a little too violent, and war porn is not my specialty, I guess. So I
Well,
toned down some of it, but
any good writer knows when he maybe went too far and is able to amend it a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you read it back and you're like, maybe other people won't get what I was going for here. Maybe I should tone it down a little. So it has to be violent. So I didn't expect it to be like, what do they call that genre? Like gore punk or splatter punk. I didn't expect splatter punk style levels of gore from you, but obviously there's going to have to be some dark situations when you're just, like I say, people don't understand how dark things down there can get in the dark corners, I don't know if anybody's watched some of the documentaries when Vice used to be like actually decent at making documentaries. They made a lot of them about South America. And one that stuck with me in particular was about this drug called Bascal. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but it's essentially like a cocaine byproduct that it comes off of. It's the goo that comes off the machines when they make cocaine, basically, right?
Oh yeah.
And there's so much of it and it's not as potent, but they know it's addictive still. So what they've done is market it as a drug on its own to the kids, mostly the homeless kids in Colombia. And so you have, it might be Colombia, it might be one of the other countries. I might be wrong on specifically the geographics. I don't want to be like completely off, but it doesn't matter. These kids, they're doing this. It's like the base level, like goo left over from cocaine, and they smear it on cigarettes and smoke. They get them hooked at like 4 or 5 years old. These are street kids. It's no wonder those people grow up to do violence on behalf of the cartel, because the cartel takes them out the street and makes them feel like a big man. This is the same thing with organized crime. I always could have been, into organized crime. I'm a big dude. I'm Irish. I'm from Massachusetts. It would be easy to fall into that lifestyle if I didn't have other ways out. And then when you don't have any other way out, it does feel like a family. So these kids get adopted in right from the get-go. They're already addicted to some hard drugs from early childhood. It's no wonder that these people are willing to lie, cheat, steal, and kill in the name of this cartel. It's their family. They call it family, la familia.
Yeah. So,
and the way to deal with that, unfortunately, no matter how you slice it from any side, is bloody, because they're violent people.
Well, and that's, I think that's, Steve Stratton's whole tagline, and I also dedicated the book to him, but his tagline for the Lance Sparrow books is bring the war back to the drug war. And
and some of our viewers got upset when he said that, because they took it out of context and they thought he was talking about like pot laws or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, he didn't even care about legal pot in some state here. He's talking about the cartels, bro.
Yeah. But
if anything, decriminalization in America helps, because the cartel has one less thing to make money off of. If it's, easy and cheap to produce here and not a crime to smuggle, that's easy revenue for taken away from them.
Yeah.
And in fact, actually, marijuana was one of the biggest backbone drugs of the cartels through the 80s and 90s. It wasn't until the 2000s that it went down in the amount of because obviously fentanyl comes about and heroin starts gaining in popularity again, and then marijuana started getting slowly legalized. Some places would have medicinal and stuff, but for the longest time, the reason the cartels got as powerful as they were was the weed trade. I know a lot of potheads don't want to hear that. I sit here smoking pot on the show, and I'm just telling you the truth. The marijuana was the backbone of the cartels for many years, and so anybody that wants to get rid of the cartels, they're not mad that your state legalized it at all.
No.
The people that are mad about that are people that are kind of worried about like the cultural morality thing about the drugs. But drug warriors talking about we need to shut down cartels and stop the trafficking. They're more worried about like fentanyl specifically.
Yeah.
You know, and they're happy that your state has weed because that's less weed for the cartel to make money off of.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to ask, so
And
Travis,
less problems for them. I mean, hell, if you're like a DEA agent, you don't have to deal with pot in like half the states. That's a win, right?
yeah. So Travis, I know that you were a cavalry scout, in the army. But I can't remember, were you in the Middle East or were you in South America? Because I know that
I was in Germany most of the time. I used to patrol the east-west German border. Um,
Oh,
the
interesting.
Iron Curtain before, during the Cold War.
Okay,
Czech
you
border
just
and
piqued
West.
my interest. This that's amazing. That's that must have been wild, right? Looking right in onto the other side.
Well,
Yeah.
you see communism, right in front of you when you're living in a country that's 1980s technology. Then you look across and it's great. It looks like you're going from a color TV to a black and white TV.
Yeah.
And then you see the control that they have over people, and the fence and all the barriers that they had up along the border was not meant to keep us out. It was meant to keep them in, because their tape traps that they had would stop their tanks, but our tanks could roll right through them.
Mm-hmm. That's right. People don't kind of remember, but when the wall went down, it didn't come down from our side.
Yeah.
It got torn down from the other side. Sam, I don't know if you knew that.
I actually
We could have taken it down at any time if it was like that.
Yeah, it came down from the east side. Yep.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen footage of the wall coming down, and yeah, it's from the other side.
Yeah.
I think
they're desperate to do it too, ripping at it with their bare hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then
tells you what there's, that tells you what was behind that wall.
Yeah.
Yep. There were. Yeah, it was. There wasn't the people. It was just the government. It was all screwed up.
Mm-hmm. Having seen that, Travis, I am curious specifically with that wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to get you into a political question if you're not comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you feel about the wall that people are talking about, like here in the U.S.? Because you've actually seen the Berlin Wall, and people are trying to make comparisons to the southern border wall. So do you feel that it's a fair comparison or not at all?
Well, where I patrolled was there was a fence, right? It was probably 3 meters high fence, but yeah, it's. Well, I'm all for the wall. I mean, yeah. I mean, if people don't want to abide by the laws and do it right, then you've got to be able to funnel those people into a point where you can control them, and that's all that wall is meant to do, is to hesitation about moving somewhere. It's an obstacle, right? And what you do with an obstacle, you mark it, you move around it, or you go through it. There's only a couple things you have to do. So, and why you have obstacles, it wants to funnel people into a choke point, right? And that choke point typically is a kill sack. But in the case with the southern border, it isn't. It's a point where you can bring them into a legal point of entry and then process them. That's
Well,
what
yeah,
their goal. That's
it's
what their
like
goal is.
it's like the legalese version of a kill trap, right? It's the we're gonna catch
Yeah.
you, come in here, and you can
Yeah.
fill out your paperwork, kind of.
Yeah.
And
Fill
and
out
I,
paper
and I
correctly and
think
come
that
in.
is how it should be as well, right? I actually think, you know, this is such like a common sense position with most people have, I've found, and we've been saying this for years. It hasn't been until recently a lot of people say, yeah, you know, I know lifelong Democrats that are like, yeah, I don't have a problem with the border wall. I have a problem with this, that, and the other thing, you know, but that it's real basic stuff, you know. It's real tough here in Massachusetts because like our leadership is explicitly like pro mass immigration, don't care where they come from. And you know, maybe that works in Boston. See, everybody assumes I'm from Massachusetts. That means I'm from Boston, but like we live far off enough out of Boston. Everybody here votes red. Okay. It's just that they outvote us. You know, it's one of those deals. They're the big city. They have, I think there's 2 million people in Boston, and there's like 1.7 million people in Massachusetts not in Boston.
Yeah.
So they automatically win. We don't have a say. And so when they want to bring all of these people in, it's funny because they don't actually dump them in Boston. They dump them in places near Boston, and then they spread out.
Or upstate New York, in my case.
Yeah.
Yeah, they spread out all over. So I'm down here kind of far away from Boston, and now we're getting overloaded with people from Honduras, Ecuador, even in some cases Nigeria. There's the Palestinians, and I don't, you know, this is a small town. It's never been as like I've walked through the center of town and felt like I might be in danger until the last like year and a half. But that's the case now.
That's
they built these giant facilities. Originally they claimed it was to be big housing, like expensive housing for people who work in Boston, right? I said from the beginning, I think that they're doing it to do migrant housing, and everybody told me I was crazy because there was no way they were going to rent these out. They were like $4,000 a month apartments, right? There was no way they were going to rent them out. I knew that from the beginning. And when they didn't, then they declared it migrant housing. And then they moved all these people into our small little town that frankly doesn't even have a police force big enough to deal with that. You know, and then they don't care up in Boston. They're like, oh, you have a problem with any of this? Well, you just must be a bigot and we don't care. And we're not going to hear what you have to say. And it's like half the people who have a problem with it are like Hispanic in origin themselves. It's not about bigotry.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I live around a lot of Puerto Ricans, and it comes as a shock to some people, I know, but it's true. They're American, right? They're American citizens because Puerto Rico is part of America, and they don't like mass illegal immigration as much as anybody else. Are they bigots too? It's like, also, I have the same problem. We got a problem up in Boston with the illegal Irish immigrants. I'd say they should have the same treatment.
yeah.
There's a line. There's an order to things, and people don't like it when you cheat. You know, most people don't like it when you cheat. I know a guy personally. It took him 20 years to get his citizenship. You know, he came here from, was it Portugal? So he's Portuguese. Yeah, he's Portuguese, and he owned multiple restaurants over the years. Real successful, worked really, really hard. And I think about how hard it took him 20 years to get his citizenship, and then somebody can just walk over and Biden handed him like $3,500 on a gift card. What's going on? You know,
Yeah.
hardworking people getting left behind. You can't do that forever because hardworking people start to say, "Hey, what?" It's not that they're not empathetic or whatever. It's that at a certain point, it's like, yeah, but can I be empathetic to my own self for once in a while? Like, we can't, and also you can't save everybody. Some people just behave badly no matter where you put them.
Yeah.
And that's why getting rid of the ones that have these hardcore criminal convictions before they even get here is so vital to the process. Nobody wants to live next to a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
You know? No, great. Sometimes you might. I actually stayed in a hospital room with a guy who had murdered somebody, you know, years ago, whatever. but you don't want to invite them into your neighborhood and say, hey, live right next to me, and also live off of my dime, my tax dime, and things like that, and add to the housing causes. God, like what's housing anywhere in America? It's really expensive here.
Yeah.
We have a right to shelter law like New York does, so that's why they come here in such grand numbers. It's intentional, because as soon as they touch down here, the state of Massachusetts, because of the right to shelter law, is obligated to put them somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough, and that they don't seem to care if that off puts or dispossesses the citizenry, right? They just keep sending them to us, and to some degree, if you follow the money, there's a lot of grants that they get, or there were, that were seeming to drive this behavior. So that it's usually a follow the money kind of thing. There's usually some kind of incentive.
Yeah,
I don't know if those grants are going to continue to exist considering the state of things, but that does seem to be why they did it that way. That like I said, they got a massive grant for converting the expensive luxury apartments into migrant housing. So that kind of thing is why a lot of times why they do it. But also it does seem that there's some that are just ideologically driven to do it. But man, does it suck to be on the end of you didn't even really care all that much, you know?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's in your face and you're like, oh, I have to care. And then this is, I think a lot of people experience, you have to care. And then when you do say something about it, they're like, you're a bigot, racist, phobe, whatever. And you're like, no, not really.
Well, and that's another thing too, is I think one of the things that at least for Night of the Vigilante, I haven't gotten a lot of negative feedback, but some of the negative feedback I did get was, well, a lot of the cartel members are Hispanic, and it's like, well, yeah, but they're also terrorizing innocent Hispanics too. That's just the way things are.
Well, okay. One, your cartel is essentially a completely fictionalized cartel. So how do they know that your cartel is all Spanish? It's made up out of your head. Second of all, so that's a silly argument. Second of all, obviously, drug cartels and coyotes are going to be of, South American origin. Are they claiming your story as racist because it tackles this issue?
Yes, essentially. But
well, tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, I'm just laughing. I just laugh at it mostly.
Yeah, it's such a everybody's so sick of getting racist screamed, and at this point, every American has had it screamed at them enough times. It feels like that they're just that's probably not a legit thing that you're saying. They've heard it hurled at themselves, and they know it's not true. So when they hear it hurled at other people, they kind of just roll their eyes. I think a lot of people.
Yeah, well, if I'm being called racist, I think Travis might be called anti environment here, because I'm looking at the Amazon page for Flames of Deception, and I don't want to read it for you, but Travis, you came on with 1 of 4 at the beginning of the year, great historical fiction novel, and now you've written Flames of Deception, or I guess you've rewritten it since it's second edition. But why don't you share with us what kind of the concept is for this one?
Yeah, so I've got the rights back from the original publisher, and that's why I did a second edition. And my premise is that using technology, satellite imagery, something's detected in the Russian oil fields, and what this Tyler Brown detects is the greatest secret in the 20th century and 21st century. And at the same time, they have to find out what's going on. So I take the reader all the way through the oil, petroleum process, from the oil fields to the refinery to the shipping. It also introduces some green energy, what China is doing to the green energy grid in the United States, because they own, we've got in deals with them. So they're not only the manufacturer, but they're also manage it. They produce, all of the equipment. So getting a virus or something through is very easy because they've already put it in. They just have to flip a bit, and flip a bit's very easy in technology. And at the same time, Russia, China, and India are getting together and trying to control the choke points of petroleum around the world. But the reason is why. Why are they doing all this? And that's what's uncovered in the book.
You are really good at cliffhangers. You put 2 in there that already got me.
Yeah. And so what was it specifically about, green energy that like spoke to you as a topic? Because like there are so many different, when you're writing a thriller, there are so many different genres you could have picked. But what was about like green energy?
I want to put the vulnerability of it. We're putting all these. Let's say, for example, I've got a smart refrigerator, and I look on my refrigerator and it says everything's at 38 degrees. But really, everything it's inside, it's 50 degrees. So food spoiling. Now, that China owns probably most of the meat processing and pork processing plants in America. They own a lot of stuff. So what if they can control that and just start having, these deserts of food? Because they basically ruined the food that you just bought. Or let's say I have an electric car and, it's fully charged up, but there's software that says, you know what, you can only go a certain radius from your house. I don't care how charged it up. And you only can drive during certain days. Mm-hmm. That puts a vulnerability, not even in the green energy, but cars we're driving now with all the technologies they put in them, right? How can that be subverted? And I want to put that as partly as a big play in the book.
I say the refrigerator example is great too, because that scales up, right? Yeah. Is like, what if they turn off the grocery store or trigger the bug that would spoil the food, essentially?
Yeah, exactly.
And then one step up from that, what if they did it to the warehouses?
Yeah.
Right, where all the grocery stores are getting their food from. Yeah. And I also like that you pointed out you're kind of going through the supply chain of oil as well. This is a thing people don't think about.
Yeah, I put in the book that we're the U.S. consumer, or there's a term in logistics called the last mile, right? The last mile is what is a store, basically, and we're last mile thinkers.
Yes.
If I buy an electric car, I think I plug it in the wall and so magically that electricity appears. When back further, there is transmission lines, and there's probably a coal burning fire plant, right? A power plant that's doing that. So we've got to take our mind out of last mile thinkers and more strategically about what we're doing, the entire process. So I wanted to go through, and it's all the team goes in Russia, and they go through all these different from the oil fields to the refineries to the shipping, and they determine, hey, these ships aren't sitting at the right depth that have supposed to have oil. You know why? Because they're not full. And I introduced some technology in there through satellite imagery that takes one of Isaac Newton's laws of physics to be applied to being able to tell weight, density, motion, different liquid at different speeds gives off different, friction, and you can determine that.
Yeah, we have a mutual friend of the show, 2 of them actually. Craig and Steve, who have their own podcast. Shout out to the Fake Untitled podcast, but they're both engineers, and on their show they've talked about very similar things to what you're discussing specifically with the power grid. And we've discussed here on this program too, back when back when Biden was president, how the Green New Deal was running the show, and there were lots of vulnerabilities that people were finding that the administration, if you're being charitable, they either weren't aware of, or if you're
They were
more
stupid.
or if you're more or I guess if you're a little more cynical,
incompetence
like
or
I
malice.
was.
Yeah.
And I get questions. Is how do you go from writing a World War I book to writing, a thriller suspense in the 21st century?
Yeah. Well, so that was actually going to be my next question. How did you make that jump?
Well, I wrote Initial Flames of Deception in 2022. There's already a second one called Cobalt: Rise and Fall of the Great Reset. And then I was writing the third in this series, and I got the idea for one of four, interested in World War I. So I put that away and just concentrated on writing, the one of four, because I felt like it was I want to write books that people kind of remember. And I think one of
I'll tell you
four,
this,
it does that.
a title like that, man, like, because like I'm sure I know what the title means, but why is it titled one of four?
Yeah, so in October 1921, four unknown soldiers from World War I were exhumed from the four cemeteries in France. Those four were taken. First, they identified them by their American soldiers by their uniform. They died in combat, and where they died at could not be identified. They were taken to a little town, Chamar-le-Marne. All four. Which this summer, my wife and I redid the book. We relived the book. We went to France, and there four were out there, and Sergeant Younger was chosen to select the one to go in the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So he walked around. He got a spray of white roses from a French father whose two sons had died in the war. He walked around the casket several times and chose one and put it there. And the fictional part is when he put it there, he had a feeling come over that he hadn't felt in 3 years. And then that soldier, the unknown soldier, was then transported from Chamar-le-Marne all the way to Le Havre, and then across on the USS Olympia to Washington, D.C., where he laid in state. And then on November 11th, 1921, the first memorialization of World War I, he was entombed in Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and he is the only one buried underneath the sarcophagus. The rest, Korean, Vietnam, who was exhumed and identified in World War II, they're the ones in front. That's how the one of four.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's also evocative of that was the statistic too, as if you went into World War I, 1 in 4 was going to die.
Very bloody.
Yeah,
it's gotten
even
very
World War
reviews.
II was only 1 in 5. World War I was much rougher to be in.
I mean, it's nominated for a Pulitzer this year. It's won some awards. I'm waiting on a couple other, that it's finalist in. But I mean, so I'm actually writing another World War I book right now.
That's good, because it's kind of like a forgotten war to a lot of people now. World War II is, I guess, maybe sexier for sale or whatever, however you want to put it. But man, the stories, I mean, like one of the most impactful things to me was as a kid reading about the Christmas truce, right?
Mm-hmm.
And though growing up, I've realized that maybe it wasn't as widespread as I had envisioned it as a kid, and it's still a beautiful story of humanity overcoming its worst impulses that can really we've never seen anything like it since. Quite frankly.
I enjoyed writing. I did a ton of research. I actually last year I went to Arlington National Cemetery. I interviewed a sentinel at the tomb down in their guard shack, and then again relived the whole experience in France, which is amazing. It's very solid. And I found where the other three are buried. The other 3 are buried in Section G, 1, 2, and 3 in the Muzargan National Cemetery. So
Nice.
that was pretty very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I want to say too, while I'm thinking of it, I appreciate you sending me the paperback. That means a lot. But I also picked up the Audible edition as well, and the gentleman who you have narrating that, whose name I can't remember right now, he did a. I'm still listening to it, but he's done a fantastic job of really bringing your characters to life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's what the folks that have read it, and they're very it's very cinematic. The book,
Yeah.
you feel when he's shooting, you breathe with him. Because I wanted to portray that because the underlying story is the son and father. It's strange that when they retrace his steps, the son can see what War did to his father, and it brings them closer together.
Yeah. Do you feel like your experience in the military has influenced your writings as either writing 104 or Flames of Deception? Because I know now kind of the popular thing is because of Jack Carr, everyone thinks that like every military veteran is now
SEAL.
SEAL or
Special forces.
Highly decorated, and seen so much. Yeah, most of my veteran friends, because obviously I'm of the age where a lot of guys I know went to Iraq, Afghanistan, whatever. Their experience is more like 1 or 2 intensive firefights and a whole lot of boredom.
Yeah.
And maybe, fear of IEDs obviously is a big thing over there. I did have a friend that died from one, so.
I try to put my characters as regular soldier, common folks, the ones that were soldiers, and typically they were soldiers, but they're just run of the mill soldiers that give it 100% every day.
Yeah, it's a job, man. A lot of people forget that, for 99% of the guys there, it's a job, and they're working their asses off.
So the military does. I joined the Army at 17 years old, so it definitely shapes how I think or how I may portray things from things I did or things I know folks did or things like that. So it does do a lot. I want to make it real, but not like that's impossible.
Yeah, you do a good job of making it real, but I also I appreciate this. I mean, you're very accurate.
If it were possible, right, people would actually be doing the thing, and so it's much better to read it in a realistic book, I think.
Yeah.
Much safer.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well, I appreciate the fact that at least in 104, I still have to pick up Flames of Deception, which I'm going to do after the show. But the one thing I appreciate is you go into great detail, but you don't bore people with minutia either, which seems to be a thing that some authors do. Like they literally my favorite is some of these authors.
It's called Stephen King syndrome, where you write 100 pages when you really only needed 2.
Yeah, well, for example, like I know
good, yes.
I know what a bullet, I can imagine what a bullet, looks like entering someone's skull and then exiting. I don't need like a full like 2-paragraph written diagram.
I don't need this. I don't need the Zapruder film.
The best thing about the Stephen King doing that, though, is whenever he writes about guns, he's one of those guys that's like not only an anti-gun guy, but he's also like has no idea what he's fucking talking about. He calls every single gun that is not like bolt action and automatic. So that's funny. He's always calling them fully automatic handguns and stuff. He goes into so much detail that he makes himself look stupid, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and people keep buying it, and his books don't get any better, but that's different. They get worse, that's for sure.
Well, and I will say too that like that's the other thing is, like it is nice at least, for me and for to see how you and other authors, how we all have different writing styles and how,
Oh yeah, of course.
Things, and how we can kind of, borrow from one another to improve.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, if Stephen King's writing style worked for everyone, we would all be, millionaires and
the fact is it only works for him some of the time.
Yeah, why?
Like he's an institution at this point, so people will buy his books regardless, right? But in terms of it working, there's a reason that people fondly remember his older books and don't even know what his new books are, right?
Yeah.
So even for him, it doesn't work all the time. It certainly doesn't work for everybody. Yeah, I've always been, in terms of art of any kind, a big fan of stuff that I find. I tried to discern and define the characteristic I look for in art, because the stuff I like is so vastly eclectic and different from each other. I look for authenticity. I figured it out. I look for like I don't really like country music, but man, do I love me some Johnny Cash. Because that man is speaking from his soul, it's always like that for me. I'm looking for something that feels just like it's somebody's unique actual voice. And the problem I find with a lot of modern entertainment is corporations like the exact opposite of that, right? It's got to be like the focused, tested, safest possible thing you could say that will go viral, and has to have, it has to have search engine optimization and all this stuff. And it's like, that doesn't make for good art, man. It makes for great products, but it doesn't make for good art.
Well, even, and I mean, I don't know, how you feel about this, Travis, but I mean, I've talked to other veteran authors who they really can't stand how Hollywood will do like, inaccurate like weapons checks or an inaccurate like gunfight, scenes or stuff like that. And I mean, to us as civilians, we might not see it, but you guys see stuff that, we don't pick up on, even if you yourself haven't been in combat.
Yeah, my son was in the Army, and he said, what he noticed too is that when he was watching, these, Hollywood war movies or whatever he's doing, he was like, that's not right. That's not, that's not how I do it. And so, yeah, I mean, you see, or uniforms, I mean, it's almost like stolen valor with some of these uniforms these clowns wear on these shows and movies. But they get away with it because they're Hollywood. But
yeah,
I mean, I can look at some stuff and say, oh,
I know, and I go wear a chicken suit on the bus, and everybody's all no.
yeah. So, yeah,
which is the same thing as these Hollywood clowns wearing uniforms. In my opinion, sometimes it's like a chicken suit. Might as well be.
Yeah. My favorite thing in Tropic Thunder made fun of this in that movie, but the whole concept of actors like getting PTSD from being on set and and like experiencing the same thing, and it's like, well, sure, like I can get very emotional writing, but it's not the same thing.
You get PTSD.
Yeah, and unless the movie you're talking about was like the Twilight Zone movie where Vic Morrow got killed or something, then maybe that's traumatic, okay? But yeah, generally speaking, yeah. Oh, what? They blew up some fake explosives near you. Oh, wow. You must feel really bad. And you were expecting it too, huh? Yeah, that must make it really hard for you. Yeah. Try having one that's actually trying to kill you blow up and you aren't expecting it, and then maybe you could talk about how it feels, And I haven't done that, by the way. I'm not saying it like I am, because I was rejected from the military because I had flat feet. But I had a lot of friends that fucking gave their blood in that particular profession and their lives even. And so, I have a little bit of respect for it. And I can't believe they is there a specific actor you could name that said they got PTSD from a war scene, Sam? Because I want to make fun of them. Yeah, I got PTSD from that boxing match where I got beat up too. Come on.
I don't know if they said they got PTSD, but I know that and I mean
yeah, they try to point it like, oh, we know what it's like, or what. I get you. Yeah,
and I mean, Platoon is a good film, but even so, they're still actors, and
well, there's also like you talked about the accuracy of things. There's also the rule of cool too. It depends on the context. Like, no one's expecting The Matrix to be super accurate to like military tactics or something. But when it's a war film and the soldiers are doing things that any soldier would be like, hey, he's not supposed to do that. Like, I'm trying to think of examples, but we all know there's like 5 different, they're saluting wrong, or they're, just silly things that anybody that's been through basic would be like, hey, why is he, that takes me out of it because I don't, but that's a war film. You can have your John Wicks. Nobody cares if John Wick's physics are stupid. It's supposed to be fun,
entertaining.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're trying to say, hey, this is a historic war documentary, well, you want to put some authenticity in it. You want to put a little care. I always look to like the king of that is All Quiet on the Western Front, right? The original from what 1930, I want to say. Regardless, if you haven't seen the film, as old as it is probably still to this day the best war film ever made. The remake they did a couple years ago is okay, but I highly recommend the original. It was written by veterans of the war.
The original is fantastic.
And the scenes that they staged, it was done with veterans who had been in that war saying, hey, this is a thing that happened. Hey, this is a thing that happened. Rather than what they try to do now and make it really dramatized and comic booky. That was more like, this is what it's really like. That was the whole point of that film, which is why it was very controversial at the time, because nobody had shown war for what it was before.
Yeah.
As you know, Sam, me being anti-war, if you consider yourself even remotely anti-war and you have not seen All Quiet on the Western Front or read the book, I strongly urge you to do so, because it is a heart-wrenching experience, but worth every moment.
Yeah, I think I saw All Quiet on the Western Front a long time ago.
Yeah,
but
if you're trying to make an authentic war movie, the bar's already really high. So at least try. That's my point, Sam. Sorry.
Well, you mentioned that 1 of 4 is up for a few awards, which I think is interesting. Has anyone reached out to you about like maybe optioning, the film?
No, it's hard enough for an independent author to even get in a bookstore. You almost
right.
Gotta sell your left nut or something. But I think so much of this is tied up with the big the top 5 probably publishers that it's hard to get anything in there. Which is a shame.
They all got their deals and such and contracts outstanding too. Yeah. Bringing new blood in isn't on the table for a lot of them.
Yeah, and so it's such a shame, because there's so many good authors out there that if they got exposure, some of these well-known authors will be blown out of the water. I mean, I have no doubt about that. When you,
it's crazy.
I have a theory about
if I had a budget,
book series that are written by not the original author. I have a thing about that.
If I had a budget, right, there's so many indie authors just from who Sam's met that I would be like, this would be a film I would love to make. Filmmaking's been my passion since I was young, and I legitimately, even when I read Sam's, I'm like, man, I could shoot it like this and stuff. But yeah, it's tough to get a budget unless you just are independently wealthy. Movies, fun fact, are not cheap to make properly.
No,
But no,
not at all.
I would entertain it though, because I think it would be a great movie, actually.
Yeah,
Because
well, I mean,
you have to shoot it in the first person, because you can't say who the soldier is. He's unknown.
Right.
right.
That's up to the viewer to say, or the reader, who is this person? Who can he be? It could be whoever you want it to be. And if people say, Travis, who is it? I can't even describe it. He has no characteristics.
See, and you say something like it have to be first person, and I'm thinking a first person war movie, and I get chills from just the concept, right? That's a way to make some realism, right? My God. I don't think that's even been done to a degree. Or if it has, I'm not aware of it, of a first person actual, historical war movie. Why has nobody made something like that already? And then I lament the fact that I don't have a Hollywood budget, or even a minor budget. Like I could probably like that's something you could do for a smaller independent style budget, And if there are independent filmmakers out there, and hey, we know artist type people, so maybe it's possible. Pick up some of these independent authors' books, because they're good, and they'll probably not be as screwy as working with a giant corporation.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too, is like,
most of them, it seems, Sam, are tired of getting screwed by big corporations. That's why they went independent if they started not, right?
Yeah, well, Travis, I wanted to let you finish. You said you have a theory about, the book publishers, and I'm curious to, know what that is, because it might match up with ours, actually. So,
I mean, I don't want to grovel for nobody to get an agent, right? I shouldn't have to grovel. I shouldn't have to change my way that I want to portray somebody in a book to match they're just to market a book. I want to I want to write books that when people get done reading, they're moved by them. Now, not more in the thriller space, but this historical things that I do, I want people to be moved by them. And I've read, again, there's these some of these books that the authors are long gone, but they're still producing these books. And I'm not, they do it. I just don't read them.
Yeah, you mean like the posthumous publication? Yeah, I'm like because we get into it with, there's people out there that are like very anti-copyright just entirely, whereas I more fall in a stance of like, I think the DMCA specifically is a bad law, and that digital copyright just hasn't caught up to the way it is in traditional things.
Yeah.
And this is one way where copyright really gets people screwed, and it's an unfortunate thing, but like the only way to deal with it is a reform to the system. And yeah, I don't think 70 years after somebody's dead, anybody, but like the public domain has to happen at some point, is
right.
Yes, I think it's life plus 50. Yeah, but that's all. But I don't know.
Right, but they even they've extended things like that for Disney already. Like they've made exceptions for these mega corporations because they lobby, which is like,
I think until recently they had Rhapsody in Blue until like 5 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, if I won the Pulitzer for 104, book agents, a big, came to me, I'm like, well, why do I need you now?
Well,
yeah.
Hey, win, lose, or draw, Pulitzer nominated sounds real good, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, so
we made up an award show to give Sam an award, so it would sound good on his jacket.
But I don't want to. But I think
true. That's a true story. We made a whole fake award show for him.
Not because you're an indie author do you mean you're not a good writer. That's what the misconception is, right? Oh, I'm self-published. I mean, you're not good enough to go get, a publishing deal with, one of these big publishing. That's not. I never even tried. I mean,
Well,
Why don't
this is
why won't it sell my soul?
I came across this because there's this guy that I had a thing with that was claiming all kinds of things about being an author. One of the things he said, and it's funny because while everybody was trying to go independent, he claimed to have a deal with Penguin Publishing, but he's the kind of guy that makes stuff up. So I called them. I was like, hey, this guy, he says all kinds of stuff, right? And I called Penguin and they're like, we've never heard of him. And they referred me to their legal team because he was saying crazy things. And through that whole thing, because that's such a silly situation, right? I ended up looking at, there was a lawsuit with Penguin Random House. I don't know if you're familiar, it happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
One of the things I found out in looking through that lawsuit was that 90% of authors signed to the biggest publisher in the world sold less than 12 copies. Less than 12
I've sold more than that.
Yeah. I think I've sold
so it's what, 400 guys selling no copies, subsidized by Stephen King, basically. Right? He's the one selling he's the 10% that sells copies. They are the 90%. So you get your publishing deal and you might get that book advance and you might even get paid on the book, but you ain't getting royalties if you sell 12 copies, bro.
No.
Right? And you don't have the rights to your own work anymore. I would highly recommend authors look really deeply before they sign with a publishing house at this point in time, because independent does seem to be a route that is the most beneficial to you as a creator. And the big publishing company, that old myth of you're not an author unless you're published, it's really unraveling fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
And not just in the publishing scene, but as I pointed out in the music industry, you look at what Tom McDonald has done. Complete independent artist, #1 on the charts consistently over and over again. He doesn't have a record label. He doesn't even have an agent.
Right.
Well, even with this show, I started when I was 14 because I initially wanted to get into radio. And as I've shared before, when I was 17, about to turn 18. And when I finally did go to the local radio station and I asked for an internship, they basically, said no, not because they didn't like me, but because they essentially said, hey, everything that we're doing is, being moved to, Clear Channel at the time. And, we're not really doing local, radio anymore. So that's kind of where podcasting, I guess, kind of took over, now for the better, I would say, too. So,
well, independent media, I saw the change in a lot of this through, like I said, Sam, working with musicians in the 2000s, right? And working in the music scene, is you saw back then, the internet was a very small part of marketing, right? And by the way, only independent artists. I only ever really dealt with independent artists, right? The independent scene back then was reliant on word of mouth. It was reliant on magazines. It was reliant on those kind of more, pre-internet, even well into the internet age. And but now you see music. The easiest way to get your stuff out there is to get it on YouTube, get it on TikTok, and not have a publisher, because the publisher is the record label is probably going to screw you. You can get your record put right into Spotify directly. You and Spotify have a deal. You don't need to deal with anybody else. You just sign up and you put it up there. The independent thing really does benefit artists. Another thing I'd point out is back then, I used to make a comparison that made people uncomfortable, even because there was the famous, beef between Eminem and Insane Clown Posse, ICP. And I always used to point out to the Eminem fans who, don't like ICP, the one big thing they would say is, well, he sells way more records than them. But if you looked into the financial breakdown, because of his record deal, he was getting $1 off of each record he sold, whereas the Insane Clown Posse was an independent artist, was getting $11 or $12 off of each record they sold. So they might not sell as many records, but they were making about the same amount of money. Right. And that's one of the benefits in independent artists, is because you don't have to support these giant staffs of people and, accounting and legal and agents and all of this other stuff. And you're able to get your work right in front of your audience directly with the least restrictions possible, ideally.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm looking at the page again for Flames of Deception here. And, the pricing on Amazon, at least, like, some people might think that, like, $30 for a hardcover is a lot. Like, that's
Not for a hardcover, no.
That's a going price.
that's the going price now. And, I would actually say it's a deal, because, like, hardcovers here at, like, the Books A Million, franchise in Florida, they're more like 40 now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I mean, look, you can't even get like a meal delivered for two for fucking $30 these days, Sam.
No, you can't.
Take a girl out to eat for less than fucking $29.99, Sam.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck. You bet you're going to McDonald's, by the way.
And probably not getting a
Yeah. Don't ask for extra sauce.
Yeah. Even then, even then, like, fast food is expensive. So, and the other thing too, when I mentioned this to people, is like, indie authors like Travis and I, we don't get the full like $30 either. We get a percentage of, whatever, Amazon. So I think it's like
paper costs money. Printing costs money, shipping costs money. So
yeah,
you should always assume that a full retail price is not going in the pocket of whoever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So but I by the way, like you said my cover was great, but I mean, Flames of Deception has
that's killer.
Yeah, I mean, that's really a killer.
Thank you.
Cover. Did you have someone? Have someone design that for you, or on?
Yeah, I have somebody design it. As a matter of fact, I got his name from Eric. So, I the same guy that Eric uses.
Nice. Yeah, he does a good job, because I've seen Eric's too. Yep.
Yeah. So.
Sam, especially, he makes his own stuff because he's so awesome.
Well, that's that's another thing too that Travis and I have in common, is we're both technical writers by trade, and when I was going through technical,
I thought you were going to say you're both awesome, but go ahead.
Well, yes, we are both awesome. We're both authors, and we're both technical writers. But graphic design was a big part of, I guess, what I was, learning when I was going through school. And lo and behold, even though I write mostly, a lot of those graphic design, courses that have actually come in handy more than I thought they would. Would. Just
self-taught from that.
Yeah, just for cover design and layout, and page layout too, which is
I do all that. Component. I do all the layout.
Nice.
So, yeah.
See, this is why I haven't written anything, Sam. This is all this technical stuff, and plus, all the authors that you have on are writing thrillers, and I would probably write something stupid and silly.
There's a market for that.
There is.
Well, it's what I know, like I can't be talking about, any type of war stuff, but I could tell you about some gangbanging.
There's definitely a market for that too.
I don't know. Would there be? Because it's like a story about a kid from the streets or something. I don't know. I don't think the kids in the streets read those types of books, to be honest with you. It's sad. Kids don't read nearly enough. Been so fortunate this week, Sam. Besides the play today, my wife actually chaperoned a field trip of my son to the library because reading is important.
Yep. Reading's knowledge. Reading's power. Knowledge is
That's
power.
And the literacy rates are just not good enough, so I try and encourage reading any way I can, especially to kids. So,
well, even like as adults. I mean, we talked about this last week, but like I feel like lots of the movies and television shows are just not that good anymore. And so like I have all these authors who they want me to, pre-read stuff and beta read. And I'm glad to do it because not only am I helping, other authors, but like I'm entertained, endlessly now, and it's better than television.
the average adult American reads one book, and I don't mean a year. And that's because there's the part of us that offsets the average by reading more than one, obviously, right? And then there's a lot of people that don't read any. And when you average it out, and it's really sad, is average is one. It used to be one a year in the 80s and 90s, and it has now gone down to one lifetime.
That's a bummer.
That's why you got to get kids reading and take the tablet away, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing too, is like I love Kindle, but like I don't know about Travis if you've looked at this with your books, but like most of my books are actually like, selling like physical copies like this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I can see the breakdown. Yep.
Yeah. We actually at first like weren't even sure whether he should do a physical copy, but there was so much demand, and then he did it, and it sold a lot better than the ebook.
Yeah,
It's what everybody wanted was the physical.
soft cover ebook, Kindle Unlimited, and hardcover. Depends. Some people just like reading hardcover. They like that. But
I prefer a hardcover myself. Yeah,
I'm an old fart. I want a book physically in my hands if I'm going to read it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
yeah, well, and actually speaking of hardcovers, too, we have Night of the Vigilante, the new one, but we also have the first two books in the series in hardcover, which
I was waiting for that one. I was like, Sam, are you not putting the 3 into one as a mega collection? And he's like, yes, eventually. And it came out so great.
Yeah, okay. The funny thing is, like, I quite really released that at Christmas, but like, in addition to people ordering Night of the Vigilante, like, I've gotten like at least 5 orders for this. So,
well, because people wanted to put all 3 into one and a hardcover. I told you people would want that. You were like, I don't know, they're gonna buy my book already. It's like, yeah, they're gonna want the
yeah, one
all in one. It makes it so much easier.
And I put in like one extra short story in there. The one thing I will say though is,
and it's hardcover. That's the king. And show the cover again, Sam.
So yeah, this this is kind of the pole. I like the 60s pulp art style, even though it
looks good.
Set in modern day, and
it's very like Flash Gordon meets modern chic. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice.
And like I can imagine, because I see you have Flames of Deception in hardcover as well. There's some heft to these for sure, and if you do what one of my college buddies did and drop it on your foot, well, I'm not liable for any damages.
Yeah, when I published through Ingram also for distribution to bookstores and everything. So I did the whole this type.
Nice.
For the hardcover off Ingram.
Oh wow.
Amazon you can do it, but it's a little more complicated. So it's just regular hardcover. But that's the one going in the books. I got a books signing Saturday here at the Barnes and Noble, and that's what they ordered.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, tell us a little bit about that too. I mean, I'm glad that Barnes and Noble is, I guess, offering indie authors, signing
Yeah,
now.
I did one in Tampa. I did. This will be my third one here in Allen, where I live. They're great. They have a whole section for local authors. I also do a program where I sell them in Kroger. I have a little, hey, I want to go to this Kroger at a certain date. I'm there from 10 to 4, put a table up. I've sold hundreds of books in that program.
To kind of, because you it was a little shade cast at Barnes and Noble there, Sam, and I want to defend, because like if you look at the state of the industry, of course they're going to be kind to indie authors. As we've said, nobody's buying the big corporate slop, and if they are, they're buying it at freaking Walmart, right? They're buying it on Amazon. So Barnes and Noble has a vested interest in fostering a healthy author community, I think.
Well,
it does seem like our local also has a local author section as well and things.
no, I only throw shade because because at least I noticed when like 10 years ago now that they used to put like certain authors on higher shelves where they were harder to find.
I'm not saying they're without criticism. I'm saying I if you look at what's been going on now with Barnes and Noble, they've been doing kind of a good job. A lot of people,
Right.
you'll find a lot of people will agree.
They won't buy off Amazon.
Yeah.
Right. They've got to go through Ingram Spark, Lighthouse. They have to go. They'll go through there. They'll never buy it from Amazon.
Right.
They never have the margins. But yeah, I try to get these indies. I do some library events, and that's the hardest thing, right? You've got to writing the book is probably the easiest part of the whole process. It's the marketing aspect of it. You got to treat each book like a business, and you got to plan for each of those businesses because you're getting different audiences, right? The demographics of thrillers is bigger than my World War I historical fiction, where when I'm selling myself together. So you always got to look at that, and then you market. How often do you market? How long? That's the hardest part. That's something that you don't miss. Like you'll have these books that are, number one before they even are out. Pre-release. I'm like, how does that even happen? Well, these big companies, these publishers, they sell a bunch of them into these bookstores. Not saying if they're going to even sell them all.
That's it. They got that marketing, but that's what I'm talking about is the downside of the indie author, obviously, is you don't have the machine behind you. And that machine does a lot more than people think. This is true of any of the show business. So I mentioned some of the benefits of being like an indie musician, right? The downside is not only are you not have that machine behind you, you're actually competing with it. And so, yeah, it's like you say, the indie game in any of these artistic ventures is grind, hard work, and knowing what you're doing, kind of having a plan, like you said, and seeing where it goes, because nobody else will do that hard work for you. Whereas Amazon or all these, larger companies, they have marketing teams that this is what they do all day, every day.
And there has never been an independent author ever to win the Pulitzer Prize.
Yeah, no, I noticed that. So the fact that you're up there, like, bravo, sir.
Yeah, that's huge.
So,
they can't deny good. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, and I also let's see. I lost my train of thought.
I had something, Sam, I needed to ask you and Mort about this week, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I'm gonna have to bail here a second. I gotta get up and get on the school bus. As I told Sam here, I'm a aide on a special education bus for the school.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, if you need
when I'm rested, yeah. But no, I appreciate what you guys it's pretty neat actually. I like the format it is.
Yeah, well, before you go, why don't you, plug some of your stuff? You also have, your podcast as well.
Ecke, it's ECKE. That's just means German for corner, so it's author corner. I also do a weekly book and a beer. Well, and I'll do different places, but home or I might be somewhere. I'll do a book and a beer, like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Last week was at the Stockyards in Fort Worth, Texas, and then of course I have my my books, com, and then Twitter or X and Facebook and Instagram and all this other stuff. So yeah, please check out the books and let me know what y'all think. I appreciate it. No, thanks, Sam. I really appreciate being on here.
Thanks, sir, and you're welcome back anytime. So
A pleasure, sir.
Well, bye-bye.
Well, the question I had for you guys, did you see the Jasmine Crockett comments this week?
I did.
Okay, Tim, do you know what I mean?
I've heard...
it was that tweet that I tagged you into, Tim.
Yeah, so she called Governor Greg Abbott Governor Hot Wheels.
Oh, that.
Look, I get it. It's like, I have to kind of get you guys to comment because it's a cripple related thing, but like, you guys kind of have to weigh in on this one. I think it's sort of the point of this show. And as soon as I heard it, Sam, I want to tell you what my reaction was. I was fucking disgusted that she said that.
Yeah, well,
not surprised, but it's a disgusting thing for her to say. Yeah, especially, they're the party of empathy. Oh, You're going to make fun of a guy for... I understand it. He had a reason to be in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Well, and
by the way, she says that she called him Hot Wheels, but she didn't mean it about him being in a wheelchair, Sam. That was her statement on the issue.
Bull fucking shit.
I mean, what else?
She said it's because he was deporting people using cars.
Bullshit.
I agree. So you guys take this however you want. I want to hear what you guys have to say on it, and I think you should air it out because this is fucked up. A sitting member of Congress used a slur against a man in a wheelchair. Sam, what do you think?
Well, I mean, Mort seems a little more riled up about it than I do, so I'll let him do the honors.
That's because she's a representative from fucking New York, I bet.
I'm gonna go with, I'm gonna read my tweet verbatim first. But Sam, Mort, you should be on the left. They're all about people like you. Me? Oh, really? This type of shit is why we aren't a collectivist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classless is what I would say.
You don't get your side by trying to shit on me for not being on your side.
Yeah. Well,
and that's it. And that's exactly what she's doing. She wouldn't make fun of somebody in a wheelchair if they were a Democrat.
Exactly.
There's no other way around that one, right? That's it for, So, you haven't actually seen the clip, Sam?
No. Well, no, because because honestly, as Travis mentioned, I've been busy prepping for,
right.
I've been in the zone on.
That's why I didn't tag you in it like he did. I figured you had a lot going on, so I wasn't going to ask you on Twitter, but I knew I wanted to ask about it on the show tonight because, what a fucking stupid thing to say.
Well, first off,
she should be censored. By the way, Sam, she said it in front of the Human Rights Campaign as well.
She should be fucking censored.
Yeah, I heard that, and that's fucking lovely. But before I go ahead and play this and see for myself, I do want to point out to both you gentlemen, this isn't the first time the left has specifically gone after Greg Abbott
Nope, not at
or
all.
being
Not even close. Yeah.
or being in the wheelchair. Not even close. And like I know that like even some Republicans, like, yeah, you can be critical of on policy, maybe. I understand that. But
I don't see
I
anything
always
going
nothing
after
preventing
a wheelchair.
There's nothing preventing somebody in a wheelchair from doing that job. I'm sorry, there's
right.
none.
And also like I know that this like I know that this might seem
Oh,
a
you know
little,
what, Sam? Hold on, real quick. I figured it out, Sam. You know what they should do? Instead of him being like, "Yes, I am in a wheelchair," they should do the FDR and pretend he's not. Right?
Oh yeah. Well, oh wait, that's what the
Isn't that how
Democrats
Democrats treat politicians in wheelchairs? They just pretend they're not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
God forbid he just be honest, right, with the fucking electorate by saying, "Yeah, I'm in a wheelchair."
well, and also like I don't know about you, Mort, but like I mean I know African Americans, and Black people use this, but whenever someone says, like, I really empathize with Black conservatives, because I feel like kind of like we're in the same boat. Like, people don't expect us to vote Republican. So
people expect us to be on the left.
You're supposed to be on the crippled tribe, and the crippled tribe votes D. How dare you?
Right. And so when someone is like, how can someone like you vote, for Trump?
Which is why my tweets worded the way it is.
Well, I throw it right back in their face every time. I'm like, what do you mean by someone like me?
Yeah.
Huh? And I've said that to people, and it startles them.
I'm telling you right now, Sam, you look at it. They booed autism.
It's the Robert Downey Jr. Tropic Thunder situation. What do you mean, you people?
Yeah. They booed autism research. Now they're making remarks about a man in a wheelchair that they think is fun. By the way, Hot Wheels. Guys, rate the cripple joke. Hot Wheels. 1 to 10 as a joke.
I'd say about a 1.5.
Yeah, 1, 2. That's the cheesiest cripple joke I've ever fucking heard.
Yeah.
God, at least if you're gonna make the cripple joke, lady, at least make a funny one. Fuck's sake. We might have laughed with her if she did, right?
Yeah.
If it was creative or something. But of course she can't be creative. Anyway, yeah, you should hear the full comments without, anybody telling you what she said, Sam. So go ahead.
Yeah, so just for the folks listening at home, this is coming to you from Memology 101. Shout out to them.
Yep.
Representative Jasmine Crockett mocks wheelchair-bound Texas Governor Greg Abbott during speech at Human Rights Campaign dinner, March 24. Oh, wow. So, yeah, this was
2 days ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much 2 days ago. Yeah.
That's why you didn't hear about it. You were prepping your book launch.
A lot of people see you out front fighting, but nobody's really asking you, what do you need to maintain that fight? So thank you so much, Morgan, because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey.
Classy.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now.
Can I just say this too? I mean, as long as we're going to be equal in criticism, I hate ghetto speak.
Yeah.
When you're at a level of power like this, it's really unbecoming.
Yet they're all over Trump for being real.
She sounds ignorant.
It do be like that.
She is. And
can I say, so if it's okay? Oh no, Sam disappeared. He criticized her. They ended it. We're done for now.
The Democrats got him.
They got him. Oh, and he's muted too. See?
Okay, am I back?
You're back.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. It probably cut me off right when I was about to say what I said. So let me.
That's probably good, Sam. No good can come from you speaking unredacted.
Okay, so did the clip? So did I already pause the clip? Or,
Yep.
Yeah.
So as I was saying is, when you're in a position of power like this, to talk ghetto like this and be stereotypical, and then criticize Abbott the way she did, is really unbecoming of.
That's right.
I mean, like, I know black people. More, you and I both know.
Hold on. Breaking news on the Whitfield Report.
We have black friends.
Well-
Sam knows black people. Go
Well,
ahead.
we have black friends who hate ghetto speak specifically because it makes black people sound retarded when they're not.
Hold on. We've been reading this all wrong, Sam. Instead of thinking that she's being nasty to crippled people, maybe she just isn't with all that political correct shit. Maybe she's just doing the thing. She's being politically incorrect. So like she can make a joke about Governor Hot Wheels. That's very not funny. I'm not even going to pretend that's funny for the sake of this bit where I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
But anyway, if it were funny, then I could make a funny joke about her too, right, Sam? Like,
Yeah.
if he's Governor Hot Wheels, does that make her Representative Snatch Yo Weave?
Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now.
Y'all know.
And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes.
What does that make you?
Yes. Right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna move on because I got other people that also hot in these streets.
So wait, is this like is a human rights campaign, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if I were just listening to the audio of this,
She
right,
said
like-
ass 3 times, Sam. To
right,
the human rights campaign.
right. But if I'm listening to the audio of this, like if I'm one of our listeners on Spotify and I'm just hearing the audio, I want the audio listeners specifically to know that this was a human rights campaign.
It says human rights campaign in huge letters right behind her multiple times. Yeah.
This isn't like this isn't like an open mic at like the local comedy club in Texas. This is
Oh my God. Hey, if we're cussing at the human rights campaign, Sam, can I speak there? I have a few things I'd like to tell them.
Or
yeah, I mean,
my crippled ass up there.
Yeah, we'll have a roast at the human rights campaign. We'll get Cat Williams. It'll be great.
I mean that's what they seem to be doing now. So
Okay. Well, Representative Snap Benefits over here is done with her roast. Representative Friday night at the club, ladies and gentlemen. This is your congressional representative.
yeah, and then these people wonder why Trump won in a fucking landslide.
So big shout out to our congressional representative, single motherhood. Because she likes funny jokes that are about stereotypes, Sam. So I'm just doing that, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of bad fits, I got a list. You ready for a list?
Oh, absolutely. But I have one more jab at my own.
Oh my god. Did I freeze or did Sam freeze?
No,
Because if I froze,
I don't think you froze.
A list. I think I'm disconnected.
Okay, you're back, I think.
I got frozen mid. I got a list, Sam. Since we're doing bad jokes, politically incorrect. A big shout out, by the way, an actual thank you to Representative Jasmine Crockett, knowing that she likes that kind of humor where you can be a little bit edgy is real cool. So we're going to call her Representative Food Stamps from now on. Anyway, speaking of bad jokes that upset people, I got a list, Sam. You're going to like this one. Actually, you might have come up with this one. Top 10 things Maxine has thrown at me. Max and Yay. I have some of them here, Sam, so that she can't throw them at me again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, sure.
I didn't write the list either, just for the record. I will give my beloved wife, Maxine, full credit for writing this particular list without even a joke. Number 10, a lighter. Now, see, I have one lighter here. The problem is I can't get all of them, so it's that there is potential for that one again. Number 9, empty water bottles. That is probably the most common one, to be honest. Yeah. I got a lot of those.
Yeah, no, we've seen those. We could make slow-mo videos.
Oh, you know what? I should rate them on a scale of how much they hurt too. I'll do that when I do the run back. Number 8, a box of Band-Aids. I remember that one because the corner of it pegged off on my forehead, Sam. It made a really awful sound.
How ironic. You need a Band-Aid after being hit by the box Band-Aid.
That's correct. Number 7, knee pads. And not just any knee pads. They're for like my son's when he was real small. So they're like little, but they get them hard little plastic things on them. Number 6, more kid stuff. A baby shoe. I remember picking that one up and showing the camera, Sam.
Who throws a shoe, honestly?
Yeah, especially a baby shoe. It's got to be a baby, right? I love the who throws the shoe. Because there's more than one shoe on this list. Number 5, and I had this one here earlier. Pink Lego. There's a couple of pink Legos I've been hit with over time. You know, the thing about Legos, Sam, they're not particularly painful when you get one thrown at you.
No, but when you step on them.
Well, yeah. That's why you don't walk around barefoot with Legos all over the floor.
Yeah, when you step on them, they feel like glass, or so I'm told.
Oh, I found it. It is. See, there's a pink Lego. Number 4. Number 4. It was a Sonic the Hedgehog slipper. Sam.
Oh, wow.
Now, I have here with me a guest for the show. This is Sonic the Hedgehog. God. Now, what was it like when Maxine threw you at me? That shit was gay. All right, thank you, Sonic. Number 3. Oh, I got this one too. Pink foam putty. See, it's that kind of like tactile putty to where if you touch it, I don't know. It's not the one that makes the farty sound, unfortunately. It doesn't really hurt, you know. But she did throw it at me, so it's definitely on the list. Number 2, This was, I think, spawned the list, actually, was candy cigarettes. You know, she threw them at me. And I'm going to tell you, Sam, these things don't really smoke great. I'm not going to lie. Like, you know, I mean, I've gotten through them, but it takes a while, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure.
But anyway, I'll do that later. What was it? We got to go back through the list, and I'm going to add a pain scale, 1 to 10,000. Okay. A lighter. That's probably like a 4. Ow, that was a lighter. Wow, I got hit by one. Number 9, empty water bottles. That's like, I'd say that's about a 2.5. Number 8, a box of Band-Aids. That's like a 1. Number 7, knee pads. That was like a 0. Number 6, a baby shoe.
Got that.
Oh, thank God. Number 5, a pink Lego. That's a 0. Number 4, our guest for tonight, besides, of course, our Pulitzer Award-winning nominated author, Sonic the Hedgehog slipper. Ow. Sonic, what do you think that was on a pain scale? That shit was gay. Okay. Number 3, pink foam putty. That's if I hit the corner, it's like a 2. Number 2, candy cigarettes. They didn't hurt it. They hurt to smoke them, man. That was awful. Don't do it. I'm going to do it. And the number 1 of the top 10 things Maxine has thrown at Max on camera on the show here. That hasn't been thrown at me on the show yet, Sam. It says here, a container of stainless steel vape coils. Ow.
Now I threw it at you.
Ow. That was like a 4, Sam.
She finally actually gotcha.
There you go.
So, Maxine, I have to ask, did you give Max a brownie?
Yeah, I told her. Yeah, she did. She just don't remember it. Her mom gave a bunch of snacks for my boy, and sometimes her snacks are of varying quality, right? And so one of them was a bag, and in the bag was like one of those cheap brownies you get at a gas station, but not just that. It was all smushed and crushed up. And she said, "Here, I gave you a brownie." So technically,
Okay.
yes, Sam.
So it wasn't a good brownie, but it was still a brownie.
But she took it back and didn't let me eat it.
Because I was teasing you. It was a joke, dumbass.
Hold on, that was a joke?
That was a joke.
Oh my God, I need to rethink everything.
I
gotta call people, Sam. Oh my God.
It didn't sound like a joke on the sandwich.
Ow! What was that? That was like a 7. Well, what? You're not even gonna tell me?
It was ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. Great for if you need a headache medicine, you get hit in the head with it.
That's irony.
Talk about fast acting, Sam.
But dumb tits.
I got the list. You guys commented on the cripple joke from the sitting congresswoman. Was there anything else I meant to get out this week?
Oh,
I did. I said that Penn had a baby. That's kind of important. We got a little sandwich maker running around now.
Yeah. Congrats to Penn and her husband, and to the youngest member of the RTO Meter family, I guess. So
Mom and baby are okay, healthy, everything's good. In case anybody wanted details, that's about all you're getting.
well, that's good news. Now if you want hilarious news, for this week, I heard that apparently the people who were like smashing Teslas and like blowing them up and whatnot.
Yeah, not only that, they put like a whole bunch of bombs at a Tesla dealership.
Yeah, well, apparently,
Yesterday.
apparently some of those people are going to jail because,
Thank God.
well,
These people are dangerous, clearly.
well, yes, but also like if you're gonna blow up a car, don't blow up the one that has literal fucking cameras like surrounding it from every single side.
They don't seem to get that they're totally gonna get caught most of the time. It's amazing that it never occurs to them.
I mean, stupid is as stupid does, right? So,
Oh, and in other stupid, hilarious news, I might have mentioned it last week, but I want to laugh one more time. Notorious white supremacist and crying Nazi Christopher Cantwell was arrested for strangling a man. And why I might find that funny, Chad, is that man and I have a bit of a history. You see, I made him crazy. And he hates me with a deep, burning passion.
oh,
And so it's very funny that he's now gotten out of jail. He tried to restart his podcast. That didn't really work out. He ended up talking to minors on Omegle. That's a lot of fun. Amazing what people will do for content for a show, Sam, huh? And then apparently at the druggy rooming house he lives at, a guy broke into his room and he ended up strangling him. So he's charged with felony strangulation, which is a 7-year prison term. So good luck, Chris. I hope you fucking die in jail, you piece of shit. Back to you, Sam.
well, and congrats to
And big shout out to the Manchester, New Hampshire Police Department for taking that son of a bitch in. Good job, guys. You're doing the Lord's work.
big shout out to him. But speaking of internet winners and internet losers, let's see here. I want to give a big shout out to our boy Jesse from Pod Awful, who he has started his own comic strip, as it were. And who's the star of today's strip? But old Mersh, who seems to be flipping out about his internet connection and then stroking out about it.
It's very lifelike.
Right? It's almost like I mean, I love the details though, like he's cross-eyed too in the entire
Yeah, but they're never cross-eyed quite the same way either.
Yeah.
His eyes just like free float in whatever direction they want to look at, which is very accurate to real life, Sam. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. His eyes just go. And
also, I mean, like the beads of sweat running down, and that's pretty accurate. The Pod Awful logo, below the no internet.
I'm not gonna lie, Sam, that female cop gun drawn Dogo didn't die shirt is pretty fresh.
Wait, they made a shirt out of that?
Yes, they made Mersh's stroke into a t-shirt, Sam.
That's fucking hilarious.
You can get it at podawful.com.
That is awesome.
Yeah. It's all it says. There's no pictures on it. It just says female cop in white, right? And then in red letters it says gun drawn, and then in white letters again it says Dogo didn't die.
Now, imagine like you're out in public and you have no idea what any of that means.
I know. Would you be able to explain the Mersh stroke shirt in public? Probably not. That's why I don't currently own one, but I can't deny that it's a pretty fresh design and it's very funny.
No, but like that's the genius of it, like trying to explain it to to outsiders. And then
especially the part that in red letters, in big letters, it says gun drawn. That's exactly what people are going to see. Yeah. I wouldn't be wearing the shirt in public, Sam. But it's modeled after, if you've seen the shirt that says, I am schizophrenic and have a gun or whatever, it's supposed to look like that. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, I mean.
It's based, by the way.
There are lots of t-shirts that, shouldn't be worn out in public that are probably.
Yeah, like all those naked lady shirts you have, Sam.
What, me? No.
I knew it.
That's a lie, sir.
They're not even t-shirts, ladies and gentlemen. They're button down. They just have naked ladies on them. I think he drew them himself.
I mean, we all know that's a lie because,
I didn't say they were good drawings of naked ladies, Sam. I just said that.
Well, maybe I was going through for another design and you just saw,
Oh my God, those weren't boobs. They were balls all along.
No, they weren't that either. They were
boobs, balls, and butt.
They were octopi or something.
Or something, you see. He basically just admits it. He gives up. He's like, or something. I don't fucking know what they were. They weren't what you're saying, Max. All right?
Yeah, but anyway,
the most fun book launch yet, Sam.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you to both you and Mort for supporting me with the book launch, and
I'm gonna write a book now just to make you interview me.
Hey, I'd be. Well, I mean, I need to have you on for that regardless.
And you'll ask me because you usually come with like a couple questions that are kind of stock, and I already know what those questions are, and so I get to bloviate and make a fool of myself.
Yeah, it's a normal episode.
It's just normal episode.
Yeah, exactly. But then is there cringing over coffee this week or?
At some point, man, I just it's been a rough week. I told you just today. We had the plays and everything else, but yes, there is going to be a cringing over Cantwell specifically, where I go through Chris Cantwell history. Pretty much, I considered writing his biography, Sam. He would be so mad if I did it. Here's a little taster for you, Sam, of some of the hijinks I've committed over the years with Christopher Cantwell. I bought his website, Sam, when he went to jail because he couldn't pay for it anymore, so it became free, right? And I sold it to an Indian casino. So now that he got out of jail, which I didn't know if he would even do that, I just thought it would be funny to buy his website and make it so he can't have it. He had to be ChristopherCantwell.net. But I'm telling you right now, Sam, if you go right now to ChristopherCantwell.com, it is going to show you an Indian casino website.
That's hilarious.
Now, he's going to jail again, Sam. and he uses ChristopherCantwell.net.
And you're going to buy that up too.
I think you know what that means. The Indians need another casino.
Yeah.
I also, we also, this is a classic too. A little throwback to those of you in the audience that love or hate Shmuley. Me and Shmuley were among the troll group that made him so upset that he started doing meth. That's a true story, Sam. We drove him to meth. And then he made a 12-hour rambling video on meth where he said he wanted to fuck his own mother and stuff. And get this, Sam, here's the funniest part of all that. When he later got arrested and went on federal trial for threatening to rape a guy's wife, yes, really, they played the meth tapes in his federal trial.
Oh, Jesus
Christ. No.
So it's him talking about thinking about fucking his own mother and all the drugs he's done, and just it's like 12 hours. And the best part is they clipped all the worst things he said and made a supercut to play. It was like a half-hour supercut they played to a jury of this guy on drugs saying he was gonna kill people and that he was gonna start a race war and all this ridiculous shit. That's amazing. I guarantee that helped convict him in federal court. And so I'm a little proud that us driving him to meth use probably led to him spending 5 years behind bars.
Well, you know what?
And not nearly enough, Sam.
Yeah, but you got him 5 years behind bars, and that, sir, deserves.
No. Federal prosecutors got him 5 years behind bars. We got to give credit where it's due. Also, by the way, if we're shouting out federal prosecutors for Cantwell, we cannot forget about the federal prosecutors that got Ian Freeman for 30 fucking years. See ya, bitch. Ian Freeman once said of me, Sam, I'm going to be on the radio long after you stop podcasting. Oh, are you, bitch? What radio station do you have in the federal prison, Ian? You got a show in there, buddy? Maybe you shouldn't, launder money. Yeah, maybe that's not a good idea. Yeah. Turns out you might get caught, get 30 years in jail, Sam. You see, though, it doesn't matter, Sam, because Ian Freeman, much like Cantwell, is an anarchist, right? And so he thinks that he just doesn't have to listen to the government ever for any reason, no matter what anybody says. And I wonder how that's working out for him in federal jail.
That's the answer.
I don't believe in the government, they say. And then the guard at the jail says, shut the fuck up, Ian, and get in the shower. The fuck you think this is? Bitch.
What happens when you don't believe in the government, but the government believes in you?
They sure believe in Ian Freeman, don't they? Yeah. They believe he's entitled to 30 years in one of their finest hotels.
Yeah.
The sad thing is they got meth teeth too, and she actually had turned her shit around, but that's all stuff I'll get into since you don't even know that history, Sam. That's why I want you to join me for the Cantwell show so you can learn some shit.
Oh, I'd be happy to. So.
Yeah, I'm in the Kiwi Farms thread, like my face.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Comic that was created called The Incredible Cuck. I'll show you all of this stuff. I have memes for days. I can go through the entire, our war with Cantwell, and then what happened to Cantwell afterwards, which is actually way more interesting. So that's what the next Cringing Over Coffee would be. People have asked me, Sam, since I was bringing back Cringing Over Coffee, if I would do more on Johnny Fox, and the answer is if he does something funny. But the sad fact is Johnny Fox isn't even funny. He's just kind of sad.
Well, my question is like now that I've written another book, and this one is like selling again like 10 copies already in the first
Okay.
not even full 24 hours. I'm wondering what like fake ass Amazon username is gonna create to give it like a 1-star review that I then have taken down because it's not like legit at all, because he didn't actually.
And by the way, we talked about that, right? Even on the show. If he had bought the fucking book, we would have never taken down. Even though it was bullshit. Even though everything in it was bullshit, and you could tell he didn't read the book because he didn't say what the book was about. He didn't mention a character. You know what I mean? It was a tax on you, so it was quite clear this person hadn't read the fucking book.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
even still, if he had confirmed purchase of the book and said all that shit, there'd be no reason to take his shit down.
no, absolutely not. A sale is still a sale. That's my motto.
And a bad review from a sale is just that's the breaks, right? Even if it's not for the right reason. But what he did was a false review, which that's fucking bullshit.
And that's actually against Amazon's terms of service.
Yeah.
You're supposed to report that. So anyone claiming, oh, Mr. Anti-censorship free speech is censoring people on Amazon. Nope, that's not censorship. That's me.
I promise you, if you buy the book, you can leave whatever review you want.
Yeah.
If that's what it takes, hey guy, you want to leave a bad review on Sam's, but just buy a fucking copy. If it's not worth buying a copy, then maybe it's not worth this little vendetta that you have, bro. Come on, grow up. Anyway, also, the bad review doesn't actually hurt.
No.
That it would take like brain cells to figure that part out. Engagement is good, period.
Yeah. And we've got lots of that in just like the past few days. And also I will
a big shout out to all the people who have shown support to you through this launch. It's been really a great experience to work with you on this show this last couple of years, and because it's your 17th year. One, that's nuts. Two, I'm probably the only dork with more experience at this shit than you. And then three, it's just been a lot of fun. Probably because we both have that much experience. We just have fun doing it.
I would, I have to ask you, this isn't so much like specifically related to this show, but like really the only time I look at like news anymore is when I'm prepping for the show. And I imagine you're the same way. Am I?
I don't know. I watch things that make me laugh. Like I've been watching more news since Trump came in.
Well, right, but you were.
Or I'll tell you, a year ago I wasn't watching news even to prep for the show half the time.
I remember. Neither was I. But like I remember, like when I first started this, I used to be like Mr. News Junkie, and now I'm like, did Trump do anything?
I love when we say that. Did anything happen? And we totally miss something huge. Because when I watch on a replay to like take clips, I'm like, yeah, something happened, you fucking idiot, Max. Such and such happened, and you guys didn't even talk about it. And it's like, yeah, because I don't know. If people want to come here looking for like bit by bit news breakdowns, that's probably, there's a lot of people that do that show. Probably people that are more qualified at that than us. No, I think when people come, they come for a little bit of discussion and a little bit of jokes, and I hope that we provide that.
Yeah, in a little bit of banter too, and then on Mondays for in-depth conversations. Usually, which have been awesome. And then, occasionally I'll just, I'll just riff, and then, I'll tell you what, like being on Bits and Bones with Mort and Joe and Tim on Sundays, that's been like fascinating to be a part
You guys
of.
have been doing great too, by the way.
Doing that show's a freaking blast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sandwich Makers is in a spot right now because unfortunately Pen's probably not going to be there next week, or maybe for a little bit. So people should bear with my wife on that. But we'll come with all kinds of things. Don't worry about
it. Yeah, I'm sure. And I'm not even gonna make a joke.
That's good, Sam. And I might not get hit by a flying object.
That's a lie.
That's why. But
yeah, it's been doing good. We just got I applied for Rumble Partner, so that's cool.
Oh yeah, congrats! I think we're just about there. So
yeah, and that's what the cringing over coffee will be. It'll be like a celebrating doing that kind of deal, because I've never done a full like stream talking about the Chris Cantwell stuff, and there's a lot to go over. It's very funny though, most of it.
Yeah.
And of course, before we wrap anything up, you need to shill your book at least one more time, sir.
Well, you can.
I might not be like your agent or nothing, but like I will break your legs if you don't promote your books properly. We call this motivation over here at Right to Offend Media.
So what you're saying is you might hobble Sam?
Correct. Yeah, that's always been a threat above Sam's head. If he's not producing to the level I know he can with his books, is that eventually, as his biggest fan, I'll have to hobble him, you see?
Well, that's fair. But
yeah,
anyway, you can pick up Night of the Vigilante in paperback now. Like I said, I haven't seen, I saw the like preview copy, which is so great, but it's not. The actual book is like a lot thicker than the test copy, and the font is a lot crisper. So we have the new one, Night of the Vigilante, and like man, even the paper is like nice and whatnot. So that's good. So you can pick up the new one, Night of the Vigilante. And then Shadows of Deception, Volume 1 is available in hardcover now, and it has been out since December. And I believe Mortheous' brother I know has a copy that he got for
Yep, indeed he does.
So I hope he's enjoyed that, and so that's been awesome.
Man,
so
I'm just tripping. It's not every night you have a Pulitzer Award-winning nominated author on, huh? Especially an independent author.
No, yeah.
So big thanks to him for joining us.
Yeah, go check out
his books, because he's got more than one out that you could purchase now.
And yeah, also John Ryder will be back in Cynthia the Assassin. That's coming out in July of 2025.
Hell yeah.
Don't know the exact date, but I need a few days to to kind of recover, and then I'll get back to writing that. So
Few days.
Anyway, though,
Look at the grind set on him.
yeah. These, and again, I've been up, just promoting the book and whatnot. So it's been awesome. And
Well, you go take yourself a well-deserved rest and watch the fruits of your labor pour in, sir.
yeah, I really appreciate it. So, thanks to the audience for tuning in.
Yes, sir.
Thanks to, the folks for buying the books and whatnot. It means a lot to me. Thanks to our guest, Real Travis Davis. Thanks to you, Max, and thanks to Mortheous and Maxine for the top 10 list and the RTO
And Sonic.
family. And and Sonic. We will be back for the Monday edition. But until then, take care and God bless, folks. Have a good one.
The right to offend is not some pesky little part of freedom of speech that we have to put up with. It is the heart and soul and lungs of freedom of speech. It is the coursing lifeblood of human progress. It is the instigator of liberty and modernity and science and understanding. What a laughing stock today's student leaders are, that they can so casually dismiss the right to be offensive without realizing that their lovely, enlightened lives are the gift of individuals who gave offense. Offensiveness is not just something we have to begrudgingly accept. Offensiveness is the motor of human progress.
Thank you for watching the Whitfield Report live on the Right to Offend Media Network. Make sure to check out Sam's books on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. You can follow Sam on X at SamW_NGC and the Right to Offend Media Network at RTO Media. Like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. And until next time, God bless, God save this great nation. God, freedom, legacy, in that order.